the economy. Now, once the economy is robust, once we have a good economy, normally we have job creation by government institutions. We do know that one of the big agendas on the big four for the government is to ensure that manufacturing is grown in this country, but as a result, also open up the job market. But what is the gap between those looking for jobs and the jobs available? Joining me this morning, I have two very well-placed individuals in that area. We have Emily Kamunde, who's founder and director of Rise and Learn, which is an HR consultancy firm, and is also the current president of ICF, International Coach Federation. And those are just a few of the accolades. Good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning. We also have UC Himkanen, who's the CEO for Fuzu.com. Good morning, and thank you for joining us. Maybe just let's start with you, UC, on your company, Fuzu.com, so that we'll understand the background. What does Fuzu.com do?
Thank you. So Fuzu is basically a platform for job seekers and employers to find each other. And we take a little bit different spin on this. So we try to be a platform that helps job seekers at different stages of their careers, in career planning, learning of new skills, validating new skills, and then finding that dream job that they're after. And then on the employer side, it's really helping employers to find the needle in the haystack, really helping them to screen talent, to find the right talent, and also then to foster the talent. So when they get the talent in, how to keep them growing along the careers.
Now, sometimes there's a huge gap between those looking for jobs and the jobs that are available, such that you'll hear people complaining and saying that there are no jobs, but you'll also hear employers complaining and saying we can't find people. How do we bridge that gap?
Yeah, if you look at the research, what the research shows, it says that about 50% of people with professional education lack skills that are essential for the employer. So that is something that is very much backed by the industry. But if we then think about the gaps that we see, quite often the gaps are both professional skills, but then they're also emotional intelligence-related skills, or they are also something what we call soft skills. And I'd say that the soft skills in my books is even the bigger at the moment. People don't really know yet how to work efficiently, how to plan their days, how to engage with others, how to collaborate, and that sort of thing. So those are some of the essential skills that we need in 21st century workplace. Of course, the professional skills are still very important as well.
Very important, absolutely. Yeah. Emily, your experience, I'm sure you've done HR consultancy for a while, and you come across very many individuals who are job hunting, some of them quite desperate. You also have, on the other hand, companies that are desperately looking for specific, particular kind of staff. But merging that gap, what are some of the gaps that you've possibly identified?
I think speaking from a HR practitioner's point of view, one of the challenges we find with upcoming graduates is that first, they don't even know how to show up. They lack skills in terms of selling themselves. They're not able to write even a CV properly, and sometimes the lack of self-confidence. And a lot of these skills are not things you learn in colleges. A lot of it is really exposure at the workplace, which probably could be bridged by more organizations really giving them an opportunity, for a bit of experience and exposure within the workplace. And I also do think it's more around initiatives and taking advantage of technology and the tools available. When it comes to writing of CVs, for example, employers today are looking out on LinkedIn to find what kind of profile do you have. And it's interesting that some of them may not even actually have a properly updated profile, and so that kind of leaves them out. And when it comes to the workplace itself, things around, like UC is mentioning, that some of the top 3 critical competencies as identified by the World Economic Forum revolve around critical thinking, it's around creativity, and really emotional intelligence. These are skills that will be needed in today's workplace.
Okay, and are these uniquely deficient now, or is that something that has been there before? Because I've had several employers complaining about the age that we are in now, especially when it comes to looking for employment. We're in an age where possibly the employees feel they're entitled, a sense of entitlement.
Right. I do think it's twofold. I think it starts from the foundation because in the colleges and universities, we haven't predominantly really trained on these soft skills, and therefore we've not been able to prepare these graduates out for the job market. So on the one hand, I think there's a lack of skill development for the current job market. This has always been there. But then what has really significantly changed is employers are no longer looking more for the technical skills. The softer skills are actually giving you the upper hand. So it's who is able to show up in the right way, who is able to demonstrate the ability to really, present what is required within the organizational context and really be able to speak to the business. So again, there is a gap in terms of the foundation where the skills are being developed, and then on the other hand, it's really the graduates themselves and being able to be given that opportunity to kind of develop post the education piece.
All right.
Yeah.
You mentioned the soft skills, and she's mentioned them as well, and it might be good to just understand fully what are these soft skills. And we're not saying that the professional aspect of it is left out, but what are these soft skills that employers are looking for?
Yeah, it's like Emily mentioned. I think that there's a group of them that are fundamental in today's workplace, and critical thinking, I'd say that is maybe the biggest one, which means that you need to be able to question things. You need to be able to form your own view on things, and not just to take some the advice that's given. Same time, it's about empathy. It's about understanding your co-workers and what drives them, what doesn't drive them, and how to work better as a team. And then problem-solving skills are really important in today's markets as well, which means again that you have to be able to think outside of the box. And these are some skills that are things that are actually learned along your life. It starts from a toddler age all the way to adulthood. And it's also very much actually the job of the parents to also stimulate their children and to get this thing going from early days on. But of course, school has a very important role here as well. So if we are looking at the fundamental issues of the school system, we still have a bit too much rogue learning in Kenyan school system, and we don't allow people and the students to speak enough, to express their mind and to talk and try to form their ideas into real sentences and to have a discussion.
I think just to add on to what Yussi is saying, the interesting and the good thing is that I think the government has also, really put in place the new curriculum, which addresses some of these gaps, and I think more focus on the STEM fields, as well as really technology and really enabling, students to be more creative, to be able to develop, from scratch by themselves, as opposed to just theory. So really focusing more on practical. So I think even the school system, over time, which is a long-term kind of initiative, I think will go a long way in terms of changing the way we have always seen development of skills.
Okay, and how can those who are incubating, if I can use that word, potential employees help them out? Because like you mentioned, some of these soft skills are not skills that are taught in a college, they're not taught in a formal classroom. You learn them as you go along, and they're critical when it comes to looking for a job.
Yeah. I'd say that one sort of big mental shift what we need to have is that we need to start employing graduates. We need to start building bigger internship programs and get the graduates to the workplace early on. If you look at even my own country, Finland, we typically work throughout our university years. So we start working from the first year onwards. So when we graduate, we already have both the soft and hard skills when we graduate.